Hello Primary 5 members, I welcome you once again to our online lessons. My name is Deborah and I'm teaching Primary 5 English, and today we are on our 26th lesson. I hope you have been well, I hope you have stayed safe. Remember that Corona is there. Don't forget to wash your hands. Don't forget to put on the mask whenever you're going out. Now, I left you with an exercise where you were supposed to complete the sentences using the correct form of the word that was given in the brackets. So let's get our pencils, let's get our books, and we first mark the work. So you were supposed to use the correct form of the word given in brackets. Number 1, he dashed a goat on the tree. He dashed a goat on the tree, and the word was tie. Remember we said that tie together with lie, die, vi. Those ones we drop I-E. We put Y. We drop I-E for Y. Then we add I-N-G. So we are going to say he has been tying a goat on the tree. They dash the mango tree for mangoes. So here, the word climb was in brackets. So we are going to say they have been climbing. The conductor dash out tickets at the entrance. Issue. Even the word issue here, we drop E. So I'm going to say have been issuing. The boy dash the luggage of the old man. Carry. Here we simply add ing. Answer is has been carrying. Okumu dash the fare in the tax. Corrects. So we say Okumu has been correcting. The head teacher dash to school. Cycle. The word cycle also ends with E. So we have to drop E to make it cycling. The driver has been speeding the car. Speed. Speeding. We simply add ing. Harriet dash in a driving school for a month. Study. We don't drop anything with the present participle form. We don't drop Y. We don't drop Y in the present participle form. So studying, we don't drop Y. The passengers dash their seatbelts. Fasten. Word is have been fastening. Magumba dash on the seat of the coach. Lie. As I told you, we drop IE to make it has been lying. The manager dash the helicopter. Fly. Again, in the present participle form of verbs, we don't drop Y. In the continuous form, we don't drop Y. So the answer will be has been flying. The boy dash the boot of the car. Open. Answer will be opening. The strong man dash the lorry. Push. Answer will be have been pushing. Nasuna and Nana dash in the bus. Dance. The word dance also ends with E. We have to drop letter E to make it dancing. Aksam dash a lorry. Drive. Even the word drive ends with E. We drop E to make it driving. The boys dash the bus. Stop. Stop ends in a CVC, so it will be stopping. I dash to the village regularly. Travel. Travel ends with CVC, so it will be traveling. Double with double L. But in American English, they don't double. For us, we do the British, we double. But if you're typing on the computer, they will tell you that this one should be single. But for us, we double. We dash the park tour. The answer will be touring. Please be honest. If the answer was wrong, you cross it. Be honest. You cross it, then you write the corrections. So let's go for today's lesson. I hope you're done with the corrections. Today we are going to look at adverbs. We looked at verbs last time. Now we are going to look at adverbs. And specifically on adverbs, we are going to classify verbs to look at types of adverbs. We are going to look at types of adverbs. So, by the end of the lesson, you should be able to define a verb. What is an adverb? You should be able to define an adverb. what is an adverb. Number 2, you should be able to give examples of adverbs. Then, when I give a sentence, you should be able to pick out which is the adverb in the sentence. Then, you should identify adverbs in the given sentences. You should mention types of adverbs and give examples of each type of adverbs. So now, let's go for our lesson. Make sure that you sit in a quiet place where there are no distractions. Get a pen and a pencil and pay attention. I want active participation. So, what is an adverb? What is an adverb? We have been looking at verbs. Adverb. Adverb meaning to add on the verb. Adverb. It adds something on the verb. Adverb. For example, walk is a verb. How do people walk? Some walk quickly, others walk slowly. So the word quickly and the word slowly are adverbs. Talk. How do people talk? Some people talk loudly while others talk softly. So those are adverbs. So what is an adverb? Like we said, it adds something on the verb. He walks quickly. He walks slowly. She talks loudly. She talks softly. All together. So what is an adverb? An adverb is a word which describes a verb or an action, an adjective or another adverb. A word that describes an adverb, an adjective or another adverb. Meaning that adverbs explain an action, how an action takes place, when an action took place, where an action took place. Or they modify, they give more meaning about adjectives, adverbs, and other verbs. For example, Tom crossed the road. Tom crossed the road. How did Tom cross the road? Tom crossed the road carelessly. Tom crossed the road hurriedly. Tom crossed the road quickly. Tom crossed the road slowly. So here, the adverb we have is carelessly. And this carelessly will describe the verb crossed. This carelessly is explaining, telling us how Tom crossed the road. That's why I said an adjective explains or gives more meaning or modifies a verb. That girl is very beautiful. How beautiful is that girl? The girl is very beautiful. So now very is an adverb describing the adjective beautiful. The girl is very beautiful. I said the girl is quite beautiful. Then someone said that girl is somehow beautiful. So there, the word very is an adverb. It is describing an adjective beautiful, how beautiful someone is. Tom drove. How did Tom drive? Fast. How fast did Tom drive? Tom drove very fast. Meaning that here the word very is an adverb. Even the word fast is an adverb. Tom drove fast. Tom drove. How did Tom drive? Fast. Here the word fast is an adverb describing how Tom drove. But then how fast did Tom drive? What do we say? Tom drove very fast. Meaning that here the word very is an adverb. It is explaining fast, which is also an adverb. That's why I told you that adverbs give more information about adjectives, about verbs, and also about other adverbs. So here are examples. Heavily. It rained heavily today in the morning. So the heavily is telling us how it rained. Juma writes badly. Juma writes badly. So there, badly is telling us how Juma writes. You can say, I can see clearly on the chalkboard. I can see clearly on the chalkboard. How can you see? I can see clear. Some they are not clear, but this one I can see clearly. Janet sang nicely on the assembly. Janet sang nicely on the assembly. How did Janet sang on the assembly? How did Janet sing? Janet sang nicely on the assembly. Therefore, nicely is also an adverb. Noisily. Maybe they were sitting somewhere and they were making noise. They were sitting somewhere, they're making noise. So we are going to say, they sat noisily in the classroom. Meaning they were sitting at the same time making noise. I did the work very easily. Meaning that the work was simple, easily. Within a short time, it was done. Leslie. Mary walks Leslie. Mary walks Leslie. That walks as if it is the end of the world, as if she doesn't care. Quickly. I wrote quickly and completed my work in time. Well, I am feeling well. Janet wrote well, fast. Juma ate fast and finished the food. Carefully. I read the instructions carefully and passed the test. I read the instructions carefully and passed the test. Occasionally, it means doesn't happen often. I go to the market occasionally. Then, carelessly, we have already seen carelessly. She wrote carelessly. He crossed the road carelessly and was knocked by a speeding car. Immediately. I went to class immediately. I heard the bell. Yesterday is also an adverb. I came to school yesterday. It is telling us when an action took place. I am learning English now. It is also an adverb. Now is an adverb. Hurriedly. He ate the food hurriedly. Hurriedly is also an adverb. So let's look at adverbs. We pick adverbs from the sentences. Maria did well in the exams. Here, well is an adverb telling us how Maria did or how Maria performed. The door opened slowly. Here, slowly is telling us how the door opened. The magazine is published weekly. This one, weekly, is an adverb telling us how often a magazine is published. Daddy drove very fast. Very is an adverb telling us how fast Daddy drove. I'm feeling a bit tired. A bit is an adverb telling us how tired someone is feeling. Jane walked hurriedly across the road. Hurriedly is telling us how Jane walked. Kalunji always walks to school alone. Always is also telling us how often. Maureen happily walked to church. Happily telling us how Maureen walked. Musa narrowly survived the accident. The director addresses the school annually. Annually is also telling us how often. So then we look at classes of adverbs or types of adverbs. The adverbs are classified according to their uses. Adverbs are classified according to their uses. For example, we have adverbs of time. These tell us when an action took place. Then you have adverbs of place. They tell us where an action took place. Adverbs of number. How many? Then adverbs of degree. How much? To what extent? Then adverbs of frequency. How often? Those are adverbs of frequency. Adverbs of manner. How an action took place. Adverbs of negation. These ones disagree with the statement. Then adverbs of affirmation. They agree with a statement. Adverbs of interrogation. These ask questions. Then adverbs of duration. They tell us how long an action lasted. So let's look at each type. Let's look at each type of adverb alone. We have adverbs of manner. Most adverbs we have are adverbs of manner. Adverbs of manner usually add ly. Adverbs of manner usually end in ly. They tell us how an action took place. The adverbs of manner tell us how something happened or happens. They are commonly formed from adjectives by adding ly, like clearly, calmly, truthfully. They answer the how question. How did Mary sing? Mary sang beautifully. So let's look at the examples of adverbs of manner. They sing beautifully. He speaks fluently. The pen writes nicely. His work is badly written. The bus driver drove safely through a forest. He always drives dangerously after drinking. All these are adverbs of manner. They tell us how actions take place. Adverbs of time. Adverbs of time tell us when an action took place or when an action takes place. They answer the when question. For example, yesterday, tomorrow, last night, last week, last year, last Tuesday, today, now, soon, immediately, sooner, already, before, after, since. All these are used to tell us time. For example, I came here yesterday. I came here yesterday. Yesterday is an adverb of time. We are learning English now. I will be back soon. I was in P4 last year. The bus has already left. We are leaving for Juba now. Mary has just boarded the taxi. So yesterday, now, soon, last year, already, now, just are all adverbs of time. They tell us when an action took place. Then we have adverbs of duration. Adverbs of duration tell us when, how long an action lasted. Maybe it lasted for an hour, for a day, for a week, for a year, for a fortnight, for a millennium, for a century, okay? For a decade, all those. Decade, week, year, millennium, century, all those are adverbs of duration. So let's look at these are adverbs that tell us the period an action lasted. Example, an hour, a week, a year, a month, a moment. They answer the question of how long. For example, they waited for 3 hours. I haven't seen him for a week. She has been here moments ago. The traffic jam lasted for 30 minutes. I was on the train for 2 days. These ones, they are telling us duration, how long. Okay? Adverbs of frequency. They tell us how many times. Adverbs of frequency tell us how many times an action takes place. For example, you can say, I go to school every Sunday. Therefore, every is an adverb of frequency. I always eat my breakfast. Always is an adverb of frequency. So let's look at examples. This class had of adverbs also tell us how often something happens or how many times. They answer the question of how often. In this class, you have usually, generally, occasionally, rarely, sometimes, seldom, ever, never, probably, often, and many others. So let's look at examples. She often shouts in class. He has always been punctual. Sometimes she flies to Nairobi in the weekend. Our head teacher rarely travels on foot. These are adverbs of frequency. They tell us how many times an action takes place. Then you have adverbs of place. These ones tell us where an action takes place. Adverbs of place tell us where an action took place. For example, here, there, somewhere, anywhere, nowhere. they answer the question of where. For example, my aunt lives in Kenya. Here is the book you are looking for. I opened the door and there was my brother. There is a tax park somewhere in town. We shall go there tomorrow. So there, somewhere, there, here are all adverbs of place. Then we have adverbs of affirmation. Adverbs of affirmation and adverbs of negation. Adverbs of affirmation agree to a statement. Adverbs of negation disagree to a statement. For example, you can say yes, no, certainly, obviously, perhaps, definitely. All these are adverbs of affirmation and negation. Adverbs of negation, you can say no. Adverbs of affirmation, perhaps, definitely, obviously, certainly. Okay, so let's look at examples. Tom will certainly come today. Perhaps the car was overloaded. Perhaps is the adverb here. Obviously, I know the answer. Yes, I believe you. All these are adverbs of negation and affirmation. Then adverbs of interrogation. These ones ask questions. For example, what, why, where, when, how. Let's look at examples. How often do you ride a bicycle? Where does the chef come from? Why are teachers going to Kampala? When will the chauffeur arrive? All these ask questions. So we have how, where, why, when. They ask questions. So we call them adverbs of interrogation. Remember we said interrogative means questioning. Adverbs of number. These ones tell us the number of times an action takes place. 1, 2, 3, several, twice, once, thrice. He has been to Entebbe airport twice a month. Their uncle has driven them thrice today. Christmas is celebrated once a year. They tell us the number of times. Then we have adverbs of degree. Adverbs of degree tell us to what extent something has happened or has been done. For example, very. I'm very hungry. She's very beautiful. I'm very sad. Quite. She looks quite good. Then, rather, almost, only. For example, the cyclist almost knocked down a schoolgirl. He was severely injured. He is quite young to drive a car. She is very ugly. All those are adverbs of degree. Then position of adverbs. In a sentence, there is where we press adverbs. You don't just get an adverb and you put it anyway. You say, I am going almost to school. No. That is very wrong English. Adverbs have where you have to press them. Adverbs can follow the object of the sentence. Adverbs can follow the object of the sentence. For example, I drove the car carefully. Car is the object of the sentence. Then you put carefully. You can't say I drove the carefree car. That's wrong. We can put adverbs at the end of a statement by putting them after the object. She slammed the door angrily. She slammed the door angrily. So the door is the object. He talked to me softly. Me is the object. She sings sweetly. The boy fell down suddenly. When there is no direct object, like here, she sings sweetly. She sings sweetly. Where there is no direct object, there the adverb should follow the verb. If there is no direct object, the adverb should follow the verb. Adverbs are not put between a verb and a direct object. It is very wrong. Don't put an adverb between a verb and a direct object. You can't say, she ate very mangoes. Wrong. You say, she ate the mangoes very quickly. Are we together? So you should know that adverbs are not put between a verb and a direct object. They are either put after the direct object or after the verb when there is no direct object. So sometimes we can begin the sentence with an adverb. For example, you can say, yesterday I saw a madman. Sometimes I don't feel like talking. Then you can put it in the middle of the sentence. That is, when I say in the middle of the sentence, it means you put it after a verb, like, there is commonly no supper on Fridays. He always shares. We can also put it at the end of the sentence. For example, Mundu beat his wife badly. That is why we put it after a direct object. You can say, he arrived in town safely. Remember, when you're pressing adverbs, press them in their correct places. So this is my exercise. Here you underline the adverbs. Underline the adverb. Then here, position. Put the adverb in the correct position where it is supposed to be. I have put the adverbs in brackets, so put it where it is supposed to be. So you have to write, remember to write very well. Write very well. And answer all the questions. Meaning here, you put it where it is supposed to be. As I break off, remember, Corona is still there. Remember to stay safe. Till we meet again, have a great day. Thank you.